What it do, YouTube? It's your boy Mike from NYC, and we back with a reaction. Today we are reacting to Skip annihilates Kevin Durant, calls him the softest player on the planet. Wow. Does it ever drive you crazy just how fast Skip changes? That's crazy, because he was just Kevin Durant's the best player in the world. Now he's the softest player on the planet. Let's get into this. Let's just get into this over up. Let's not do too much talking.
Defense, because I got to tell you, it was pretty good last night. By their standards, it was pretty great. In the first half, it was truly great. Right. In the second half, it was still good enough to win the basketball game. They were up 17 late in the second quarter. They gave up a run. It may have hurt them, but they were still up 10 and a half. And if you told me before the game the Nets are going to be up 10 and a half, I'd say, thank you, God, I'll take it and run with it. Right. If you had told me before the game that the Brooklyn Nets would be up 5 after 3 quarters, I would take it and run to the bleeping bank with it. Okay. Because that's the kind of lead that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving, the most dynamic duo in the history of basketball, should easily run and hide with.
Yeah, but Skip, you've seen this all year. Those are the type of leads that they've blown. You've seen that.
I haven't, because they haven't played together all that
But I'm saying, since Kyrie's been back with the mandate, you go back and look at their last 20 games and see how many big leads they had, and they collapsed in the end.
So just to display my up-to-the-second objectivity about Kevin bleeping Durant, I'm going to read a string of tweets that I typed last night on the fly in real time. I'm going to read them right now.
Niggas bringing up tweets, bro. Niggas bringing up his Twitter, bro.
To show my objectivity, and they started in the middle of the third quarter. And the first one was, this is all caps because I saw it coming, middle of third quarter. Kevin Durant has turned into a nightmare. Completely overwhelmed and overmatched by a Celtics defense that's turning him into a turnover machine. Pull your head out, man. Well, he didn't. His head just went deeper and deeper, you know where. Second tweet. Kevin Durant is just getting bullied, all caps, and he has all caps folded, because he did. Yeah. No Moss. You remember that fight?
Yes, I do. Roberto the Sugar Ray.
Make that, and these are capitalized words, make that the softest player on the planet so disappointing. Next tweet. This is probably early fourth quarter. KD, Boston MVP. He was Boston's MVP.
We got to give more credit to the Boston defense. I'm not going to lie. I watched this entire game. That was the most fun I had watching a playoff game in so long. If that type of defense is indicative to the defense that they were playing in the 90s and whatever time period y'all rave so heavily about, no disrespect. I'm not saying that y'all wrong or that, you know what I'm saying, or oh, they just old. I'm not disrespecting. I'm just saying I didn't see, so I don't know. This is what y'all saying to me. But if that defense that was played last night on Kevin Durant and the Brooklyn Nets was indicative of the defense and the style of basketball that was played in the 90s, I feel you 100%. Like, I get where you come from. Like, that was a beauty to watch. Like, the intensity on defense, like, bruh, it was so beautiful. The switching, the blitzing, the drop, the hands, the active hands, the helping, the rotation, the showing, like, bruh, it was a defensive display, and it was beautiful. It was better, or it was as good or better than seeing any type of offensive, your best looking offensive scheme or play or whatever you like to see offensively from me. So you got to give, though Kevin Durant is supposed to be one of the best players in the world, and that's not supposed to be able to happen to him, you have to give Boston a lot of credit, bro. You have to give Boston a lot of credit. You have to. I ain't gonna lie.
That game. Next tweet. KD and Kyrie are on their way to joining Ligon in Cancun.
Ligon is crazy.
Game over.
Ligon is crazy.
Thank you very much. Drive safely. Next tweet. Tonight he was Kevin Can't Durant, because that's what he was. He was Can't Durant. And then the final one was, this was for you. I just lost 3 cases of Diet Dew to LaShannon Sharp thanks to
Niggas calling him Lee Shannon Sharp. Like, this nigga is funny.
can't do, D-E-W, can't do rant because he can't even do my do. He undid my own do.
Yeah.
He lost
Excuse
me 3
me?
cases
With
that
2
were
points.
sitting in the middle of the table for me to gulp. They were big gulps right in the middle of the table saying, here, drink me, drink me, drink me. And can't D-E-W rant, can't do rant, couldn't even do that.
Is dude like code word? Are they like betting money on the side and they just saying Mountain Dew anyway?
I am dumbfounded. I am gobsmacked. I would have bet. I would have bet 100 cases against that happening last night in that situation to that guy, but he shrank. And I'm not finished yet because I got more here.
Okay.
Go for it.
He was rendered last night, Kevin bleeping Durant. He was rendered slow and clumsy looking. That's what he looked like to me. He looked like a guy who couldn't dribble because he's so tall. It's like he's too tall for his dribble, and he tries to dribble, through 3 Celtics, and the ball's dribbling so high that it's just being knocked out of his hands like he's in 8th grade. That's what it looked like an 8th grader out there trying to play with professionals. He looked weak and shaky passing the basketball as well as shooting the basketball, which shocked me because he's highly capable of a 10-assist game, and he's just like, he's intimidated.
But would you agree that he's not a natural passer of the ball?
No, he's
like a LeBron.
Okay. He's not LeBron, but he's a very good passer.
Yeah, he's a good passer, but not a natural passer.
The point was, Kevin Durant went in the tank. They destroyed his confidence in the middle of the 3rd quarter. And then in the 4th quarter, and I never say this, I don't know if I've ever said this on this show, they took his heart. They just snatched it right out of his carcass.
What?
They took his heart away
Well,
because
that happened.
he had nothing left. There
Why
was no
Shannon looking like
backbone
that?
left. He was a jellyfish in the 4th quarter. I've never seen anything like it. He shot shots like he knew they were going to miss. That's what he looked like. Every time he went up, it's like his hands are shaking. It was like LeBron at the late game free throw line, like his hands are shaking.
You don't need to mention LeBron.
Well, he's LeBron.
Yeah, okay, so why you...
Nigga, aren't you the one that mentioned LeBron first? Didn't you? You was the first one to mention LeBron in this conversation. Don't do that.
Beat him up. This is about Kevin Durant and how he fell in epic proportions last night.
And I'll throw this in. Kyrie wasn't much better. But the better player is obviously Kevin Durant.
Yes.
So the bulk of the blame is laid at his feet.
I disagree. Kyrie getting 10 points, bump all that. Forget all that. I'm not trying to hear that. At the end of the day, you can say KD played bad. KD had a lot of turnovers. I agree. The Celtics really got into Kevin Durant. But at the end of the day, Durant got 27 points. Didn't he lead the game in points? Hold on, I just want to make sure. Durant led the game in points. And as far as I'm concerned, Kyrie only had 10 points. Right? So it's like, at what point, what role does Kyrie take in that? You get what I'm saying? Durant had 27, Bruce Brown had 23, Drummond had 5, Kyrie had 10. So Kyrie had the 3rd least points of anybody who scored. Patty Mills had 5, on the 4th least. Patty Mills and Drummond had 5, and Nick Claxton had 3. Kyrie getting 10 points, that's unacceptable in my opinion. Now, it was really one of those type of games, right? Tatum had 19 points, but he only had about 4 points at the half. He really turned it up. He had a stretch where he kind of turned it up late. Marcus Smart only had 12 points. Marcus Smart usually gets a little bit more than that, but he had a good 5 assists. Williams had 17. They really just played as a team, but Kyrie getting 10 points. You need more from Kyrie than 10 points. If Kyrie gets you 20, they probably win the game. Realistically, it's not really fair to ask Durant, okay, Durant, we need 35 from you, 40 when Kyrie's only getting 10. Kyrie needs to take a good percentage of the blame. And it looked like Kyrie wasn't engaged. It looked worse for Durant because Durant was really trying to force the issue. It was just like he couldn't really move comfortably. Like they was on his body. He had to push through like all the work he had to do to even get the ball. Then when he got the ball, he got blitzed and it was a whole bunch going on. I think people kind of let Kyrie slide a little bit because it didn't look like Kyrie was getting locked up. To me, it just looked like Kyrie wasn't engaged. Kyrie never said, I'm going to just go after it. I'm going to just get shot attempts in. I'm going to try to force the issue. Kyrie was just like, and I don't know what that was. I don't know why that happened. I mean, Kyrie had a great game 1. He had a bad game 2. That's fair enough. You know what I mean? If Durant would have played better in game 1, it would be a 1-1 series right now, going back to home court. Kyrie had a bad game. It is what it is. So they gotta do what they gotta do in game 3 and 4.
He's 7 feet tall. He's a 7-foot monster. His shot, you would think, was unblockable unless he goes up so tentatively, so softly, that Jason Tatum blocked it a couple of times last night. One in the fourth quarter that just knocked me over. And I give it up to Jason Tatum. He played some hellacious defense. It was all about his heart.
Facts.
He had big heart. Kevin Durant had no heart. Jason Tatum was all over him. And to your point, it's cornerback mentality because he knows he's got help.
Yeah.
But still, Jason Tatum mirrored every move that KD made with the basketball. And Ime Udoka, as you know, sat on that bench last year. He's watched Kevin up.
Even this play. Look at this play right here.
Tatum mirrored every
Look at Kyrie
move that KD made with the.
Kyrie's not ready. He's not shot ready. You see Jaylen Brown helping. You see him peeling over, closing in the lane. Kyrie's supposed to be right here, shot ready. Just like he was game 1. Game 1, when KD kicked it over, I don't know if I can find the highlight. I'll put it in here, but KD kicked it over. Kyrie shot ready. Bow. Knockdown. You know what I mean? You need your co-star to be ready to go, ready to rumble. That's the energy. Kyrie wasn't giving you that same energy. You know what I mean? So it's going to be a lot harder for Durant to really get off when you got Bruce Brown that don't like, he like to shoot sometimes. He's actually a good shooter. I think he should shoot more. Then you got guys like Drummond filling in the lane. And if you got Kyrie who's not engaged and you can get, pinned by Jaylen Brown and Tatum, is going to be a lot harder for you because he can't get all the way to the rim. Tatum on his hip, then he got somebody filling in the lane. He doesn't know how to be in the dump off. You don't know how to be on the wing or on the box to where somebody can outlet pass it if they get in the lane. You're standing in the middle of the paint. Bruce Brown is inching in the box when he can shoot in the corner. Why aren't you in the corner? They already are very limited offensively, in my opinion, with some of the people that they have out there and how they play. You know what I mean? They don't have a whole bunch of marksmen. Seth Curry did play well offensively. Dragic did play well offensively, right? So you have one guy spacing the floor. But if Kyrie's not engaged, it's going to make it that much harder for Durant to really do anything.
And Ime Udoka, as you know, sat on that bench last year. He's watched Kevin up close and personal for years and years and years. The Olympics, the whole thing.
From San Antonio.
He knows him cold.
Absolutely.
He's been beaten by him, and he has beaten him.
Yes.
He beat him in his house one night when Ginobili made a shot of shots to get the Spurs back to the finals that they won in 2014.
Right.
By a record finals margin against LeBron and company. But it took them at least keeping Kevin to a low roar in that game, and Westbrook to a low roar, for them to steal that game in the end because Ginobili made a big 3. But they know how. Ime knows how that you have to get up into him, you get physical with him, and you play football, basketball with him, and the refs pretty much let him get away with it, except he did go to the free throw line 20 times.
Yeah. So, we can't just act like the refs didn't show no love. They show love. But, you could argue, but I really didn't see anything that I was like, hey, Durant needs to get more calls. I was pretty, objective. I don't really have any skin in that. When Harden was there, I was rooting for Harden. But now that Harden's not really there, I kind of am rooting for Celtics just because I feel like they're the underdog. They're the next one up. But in terms of who I was really, really rooting for, I wasn't necessarily rooting for anybody outside of just me naturally wanting the underdog to win. There's nobody in particular that I'm rooting for. So I feel like I'm fairly objective. Even when Harden does play, I am pretty objective. You know what I mean? I might even give him more slack just because, that's my guy and I want him to succeed. But I didn't really see anything. I was like, nah, yeah, they're mistreating KD. He's not getting no calls. I didn't really see that. And I watched the entire game.
Made 18. But when he really went in the tank, when I knew he was just psychologically cooked, was when midway through the let me get the time exactly. It's 4:17.
Oh, you got notes.
Third quarter. Could we see what he did? This is Kevin Durant going to the free throw line when he was completely overwhelmed and just overwrought and way short on the first one. And then he tries to overcompensate on the second one. And you know what happened? He goes back iron. You just don't see that. You don't see that man miss two. When he missed two, I said, he's gone. He's over and he is out because they have snatched his heart and his psyche and what's left of his confidence. He was absolutely done. I didn't think it was possible to do that to that man on any stage under any circumstance because nobody has ever done that to him. Nobody. It's never been close to that.
Well, here's the thing, Skip. The reason why nobody is hard for them to do is because nobody's had this level of athlete. When you look at Jaylen Brown, you look at Jason Tatum.
We don't give. You know, that's the interesting thing about, you know, sports. Is like when a great player does poorly, hardly ever do we give credit to the opponent. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of times when I watch Durant during the season, rarely when Durant had a bad game. If Durant had a bad game, it was like, yeah, he's getting to his spots. He's just missing. Like, it has nothing to do with you. Even if the hand is there, you can tell if you play basketball. I don't know how it is in other sports. But when you play basketball, you can tell the difference between somebody getting a good shot contest versus like somebody playing good defense. When you actually play against good opponents, you have to not only be there physically, but there's a psychological component that comes with playing defense, right? Somebody has to feel your presence, right? Like, it's like badges. Like, you have to have intimidator. You have to have certain abilities and to be able to get in here mentally, right? Because you can see Kyrie just go for 60, Durant go for 50. Everything's contested, right? Bucket, everything's contested. Like, guys are there, but it's not, there's a different type of defense from being there versus like being there mentally and making your presence known, like making the player think about the moves that they do, right? Certain players are just standing there, they're just guarding, trying to defend, and they let players get in their bag and whoop, Harden, he'll do his little bink, step back three. It's like, oh, crazy shot. It is a tough shot. I mean, he's one of the greatest scorers to ever play this game, you know what I mean? But the guys that guard Harden the best are the guys that get into his head. They don't let him just set up his dribble, and it's like cone work, contested hand. That's how they practice. You have to actually create a presence that you're there. You have to make them think about, I might jab at the bull, I might get a block, I'm on them. Like, there's a certain type of presence that you have to have when you're playing defense, and everybody on the Celtics seems to have it.
At Marcus Smart, you look at Al Horford, you look at Daniel Tice, guys that have length. Now, although Marcus Smart is not as tall as the aforementioned guys, he's a body. He's a big, strong, muscular guy that will play physical basketball. There's a reason why he was Defensive Player of the Year. Now, you might think Mikal Bridges or Rudy Gobert, but he won the award. So, obviously, a lot of people thought that he was playing very good defense all year long. He can get up under him. He plays up under him. But he knows, like you said, I got help behind me. Al Horford is coming from somewhere. JT, JB, they're coming from somewhere. Tice is coming from somewhere. Just imagine if they had Robert Williams, who's the better defender than all of them other than Smart. He might be the best defender. And he's not even there.
Yeah.
So they have enough bodies. Skipping, if you watch when Kevin Durant shoot, more time than not, there's somebody on the side that's jumping. There's somebody that's in front of him that's jumping. He's never seen that before. I just want you to, because you focus on the basket, but you can see these guys out of your peripheral.
Yeah.
And they're doing a great job of that. But I like what you're saying. You're about, I'm going to be totally objective.
Look at these possessions.
Yeah.
They're doing
Look at the spacing. Oh, this is at the end of the clock anyway.
But I like what you're saying. You're about, I'm going to be totally objective. You got no choice.
Let's see. That's clean one-on-one right there.
You're the guy that they caught in the bank vault at 3 a.m. and he tells the cops, I was stealing. You're the guy that they caught in the bank vault at 3 a.m. and he tells the cops, yeah.
I don't know. I feel like his teammates kind of sold him. His teammates, it looks like, I did watch the game, and I'm going to be 100% honest. I was kind of watching for the Celtics, not for the Nets. But it kind of looks like his teammates left him out to dry a little bit. I'm going to be honest. Like, Patty Mills is a vet in this game. I feel like he should know where to be. If I'm Patty Mills, I'm right here in this corner right here so Kevin Durant can see me. I'm not going to stand behind him and make it a shorter closeout. Bruce Brown, he want to act like he can't shoot. He want to act like he's Draymond, whatever the situation is. Why are you underneath the basket? Kyrie Irving is, out of the play behind him. Like, I feel like his teammates are leaving him out to dry. And if the Nets, they do need to go back and watch the film and see what they can do, I feel, in my opinion, this is something that I would point out. Like, we got to give Kevin Durant some help. We got 4 guys guarding him. He can't get to the rim. He can't get a clean shot on either side. He got nothing. We're not giving him nothing to work with. They got to help him out. And Kyrie, I already know Kyrie going to come back game 3. He going to come with that energy. I already know Kyrie. He going to come with that energy. Even if he's missing shots, he's going to come with that energy. So let's see.
Money. You got no choice. We got you dead to right. You got no choice but to say Kevin Durant laid the egg because everybody saw it. 4 of 17, another 6 turnovers, minus 19 in the second half. What other choice do you have but to be objective?
That was the question I kept asking you all year very long about LeGon and company. Yes, it is.
No,
you always change the subject.
No,
if I'm talking about Tom Brady, then you have to bring up Kevin Durant.
No, I'm not talking about KD.
Yeah.
All I'm talking about is your guy had a 17-point lead.
All I know is that your guy had at least 17 times this year that he could have closed games and won them, and he failed at least 17 times this year.
Yeah.
That's all I know. And not once would you own up, fess up, confess.
I absolutely did.
You were caught in spotlights at 3 a.m. in the vault with a whole hands full of gold bricks. You had gold bricks in your hand, and you're saying, who, me? No, it wasn't me.
Go back and look it up. How many 17-point leads or more that Kevin Durant has blown in the playoffs?
Yeah.
It's more than you think. That's not the first one. That's not.
All I know is this team, the Nets, last night scored an average of 30 points a quarter for the first 3. And to your point, Bruce Brown got off to just a sensational start.
Yes.
Then Dragic came in and went pretty crazy for a while. And Patty Mills made a big 3. And Seth Curry made, 4 threes, right? Didn't he make he made 4 out of 6. And Claxton had a couple of blocks. And Big Penguin had a couple of blocks and 3 steals. I can't ask for any more from supporting cast.
No, you can't.
And then all I know is in the fourth quarter, a team that had scored 30 points per quarter through 3 quarters scored 17 points and lost 29-17.
Skip, you only scored 42 in the second half because Boston defense turned it up, and look at what you gave up. Skip, the Celtics shot 65% in the fourth quarter. Is that outstanding defense? They shot 65%.
No, they were making tough shots.
Yeah,
they were unconscious. Remember Marcus Smart?
Layup.
I mean, Marcus, layup with his left hand from about 7 feet off the glass.
What about
was that easy?
What about
was that not contested?
No.
There were no layups. There was no.
I'll conclude with this. I want to see the underdog win, and going into this series, I felt like Boston was the underdog. I'm gonna be honest with you. Even though they were a 2 seed going against a 7 seed, the Nets are not a regular 7 seed team. But that being said, though, as an NBA fan, I want to see the underdog win as an NBA fan. But as a basketball fan, I still want to see both teams play their best, and I don't really feel like the Nets are playing their best. I feel like the Celtics are playing their best brand of basketball, but I don't think the Nets are playing their best and getting the most out of their players. I think that offensively last night, they didn't really bring that energy, especially Kyrie. But overall, I don't think they brought that energy. I think they kind of... and they did get help. I can't act like they didn't get help, but I think that in terms of when you look at the box score and you see the points are there other than Kyrie to help Kevin Durant, but I don't think the energy's there. There's a certain energy that you play with that is infectious, you know what I mean? So that I'll conclude with that. Definitely like, comment, share, and subscribe. Be like these type of videos, and I'll see you when I see you. Peace.